Hello and welcome to Bump Love. As you can see, we have an entirely different panel of dads. It's the first of its kind. We're doing Bump Love Dad Edition, aka Baby Daddy. You asked for it, you've requested for it. We've had dads sending us DMs and saying we want to hear from the fathers. Moms saying, but who are we talking to? We are sharing opinions amongst ourselves. We want to speak to the fathers. And so here they are. We're going to talk all things fatherhood, and this being the first of its kind, we'll just sort of introduce the concept of fatherhood, what it means to these gentlemen on the set, and then over time we'll have even more and more fathers coming to share their experiences so that you can learn from them and also hear from them. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi, Mama.
Hi. The choice of what you use, baby daddy.
Baby daddy. It's heavy, eh?
Yeah.
But you are the baby daddies.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure there are women in your lives who say, yes, this is my baby daddy.
I have a woman in my life.
Right? So we're very excited for this show. Like I mentioned, a lot of people have been reaching out to us and saying, but we are the fathers.
Yes.
We are watching, but we want to hear the father's opinion. And today on the show, we have a diverse group of dads. I'm going to say a little bit about them, and then they'll talk a bit about their background and who they are, where they come from, how many kids they have, at what age they started having children. We're sort of having that discussion before we came on set. So next to me is Bob Buga. Bob is head of IT at Kisu. School for rich people, eh?
International.
So if you have money, you take your kids to Kiss. And next to him, Mr. Bonny Isaac Teko. He's an advocate. I don't want to butcher your CV, so I will allow you to say something about your your profession, but he's an advocate with Bank of Uganda, right? And then next to him is Lenny Businge, also an advocate. Before we came on set, we were joking that there's a difference in rank here. So he's senior counsel, then he's counsel. Yeah, just counsel. And then next to him, a face that is not very new to you, Andrew Chamagero, media personality, news anchor with NTV, Omuntu wa Wansi. I don't know in whatever capacity you know him. Yes! You have jammed.
That's a conversation we'll have another day.
Omuntu wa Wansi.
Rachel, protect me on set.
Counsel, behave, rule yourself. So he's here joining us also as a dad to talk about his experience being a father. So free sharing, gentlemen, how long have you been a father? How many kids do you have? At what age did you start having children? And how has that worked out for you?
I think I'm the seniorest dad.
Yes, you are.
Because my firstborn, called Tiffany Teko, is 20. She made 20 on 6th of October.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm impressed that you remember the birthday. That's usually jazz for mothers.
Yeah.
Birthdays.
She's a replica of me. She's the first fruit of my procreative prowess, if I could say.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's my first first fruit of procreative prowess.
Yeah. After her, I got a son who is now 16.
Wow.
He's called Tevin Teko.
Yeah.
Tiffany Teko, Tevin Teko.
Nice.
And then came Tronella Teko.
Hey,
And then Tessa Teko. And then the last one is Tyra Teko.
What is with the team?
Wow.
The T is just a decision for the resonance, the rhythm.
Okay.
And so that nobody mistakes them.
Oh, okay. So 5 children. Wow.
So I think I'm also the biggest father, the most senior, the biggest.
The biggest number.
The only problem is 1 boy, 4 girls.
Okay.
You
Maybe-
can't be sure about the biggest father.
We're about to find
And
out.
I must say I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy to have
I don't
you.
have a bump, but
You have the information.
I'm very happy to be on the maiden show.
Yeah.
I hope we set a standard that will not be rocked by anybody.
I pray that you do.
Yeah.
For me, being a father, I think was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it gave me a sense of settlement.
Yeah.
As soon as the child came, I realized that I can't just be running around,
Gallivant.
being a boy, and I had to take responsibility. So Clara coming into my life completely changed the trajectory of my life, and for me, she's been the most sensible thing that I've done,
Wow.
other than choosing the person that I had the child with.
Yeah.
So Clara Nimara is our first child. We've had 3. She's 13, 26th of March, by hospital. Then came Raphael Lemmy, 12th of Jan, 2009.
Wow.
So he's 11. And then the little one, born in 2014, Nathaniel Amani, who's 6 now.
Wow.
So I have one girl, the princess of the house, and then
Two
two
boys.
ninjas
Two
who keep me busy. They keep me really, really busy because they're just full of energy. I don't know what it is with boys. I think it's what they eat. They just can't stop. Yeah, but it's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And I hope that every man has the opportunity to be a father.
To be a father.
Because then your sense of direction completely changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If this was made in with a yardstick of who has more kids speaks faster than the other, I should be the last one to talk.
Wow.
Okay, well, my name is Chamagero. Ndi muntu wawansi. I vie and amplify the plights of abantu wawansi, even when councils like him dispute that. We are living in a dispensation where distribution is part of our day-to-day program. Well, I should have 3 children today, but we lost one. Our firstborn was Allegra Chamagero, and she died on the day she was born.
Oh dear.
The doctor who made the mistake, I made sure he pays up to today.
Oh.
Then we prayed to God. It was not easy. Believe you me, if you feel like getting a woman pregnant is a simple thing, it's a work, it's a heavy
It's
task.
a science.
Yeah. And we got Mandela on 15th of February 2016. Mandela is my friend. I don't want to call him my son, but he's my friend. He asks questions that I cannot answer freely, and I wouldn't ask back in the day. Why is Mandela? Because I really want my kid to be Pan-African, because I'm Pan-African. And you can only find that in names that are rooted within the African context. It can be in position to traverse all around. So I'm very intentional to even the cartoons he watches, they're not from Uganda. I download them from the Kunta website. But he knows where we come from as Africans and what we must protect. And so I took leave for like 2-3 years. I went back in the struggle and the battle and succeeded with a beautiful daughter called Zaza. Chamagero.
Wow.
Zaza means light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow.
And I'm done.
Are you though?
I'll tell you why I'm done, because I come from the school of thought that I don't want my wife to give birth to so many children that we spend half of our life running around these chaps. We have dreams and visions to run. My wife has aspirations. We have destinations to go to. Now, we can't afford that when with this economy where we are, that we are going to be busy looking for money that they can be in school, they can have health care. No. So with these two, I'm praying to God, and that's my daily prayer, that God protects my children, that I can get the jobs and my wife can do business that can provide for them when they are done with school. Now, me and my wife, the aspirations we posed, we can run after the destinations we want to go to. So my wife has to look as beautiful as I found her. I'm not going to have 20 kids. No, it's not going to happen. So I'm done with 2, and I'm proudly saying I'm a proud father of 2, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Have you concretized that done part, like vasectomy? Or
No.
What have you done to make sure you're
question.
done?
This is a conversation
Because-
I had. This is a conversation I had with my wife. I told her, look, this is what I want. I don't want to have children that I cannot emotionally be there for them. I don't want to have so many children that my emotions are divided in one or the other. That explains why I am a man who doesn't believe in stray kids. They're not stray kids. You went there, you knew the repercussions. It's either disease or an exhibit.
Yes.
So I don't want to get in a space where these kids come to antagonize my vision. So if I know I'm going to have 2, we have a conversation with her. We say, look, we're going to have these 2 children. After we have given them the support they need, let's run about our dreams. You and I wanted to go to Malibu, and we have sauna on the whole day. We have spa. You and I wanted to go in a 4 seasons in Bali. Please be with me. Let's go. Now, it won't be my children antagonizing this, where I'm 8 years of age and they're telling me, oh, this kid needs school fees, and I'm that stressed. No way.
But you've not answered Mr. Teko's question. Have you concretized this
Well,
arrangement?
concretizing it's subject to discussion,
Okay,
but these are issues. You see, what can change the aspect if you didn't give your wife a helicopter view of what you want to achieve? Now she has the helicopter view and she knows we are not going to go to this. So we have taken the necessary family planning measures not to shoot in the right arena. Oh my gosh! Bamplavik, as you say.
I get you.
I'm happy to be here because I've seen another Chamagero, not just
The one who brings you the news.
I've now seen a totally different.
Oh yes.
The Chamagero behind.
Yeah.
This is the me.
Yeah.
So her cancer.
I think
You're next.
Council over
I'm
to you.
under so much pressure. Well, personally, I have 2 children so far.
Personally, otherwise,
me.
you as you.
Me as
Okay.
me. No, my wife. With my wife
Statement
as
is
well.
loaded. Okay.
It is. So we should have 3 children by now. We lost our 3rd earlier this year. So
There.
it's been tough, but God is good. My firstborn is a prince by the name of Abel Mugisa Businge. Fantastic guy. He's 4 years old. He was born on the 25th of October 2016.
Brilliant.
So then we were a bit in a hurry. So we went back in the struggle. And
When he was 2 years,
when I think when he was a year and 11 months.
No sooner had they.
Then we quickly reloaded and we were blessed to have Hazel, Kobugabe, Birungi, Pusinge.
do these names fit on the job form?
Fully, I have the birth certificate.
They have to fit.
Your form is different.
But yeah, so we wanted Abel to have a sibling close in age.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one that would have come this year surprised us, but we took it in good stride, and we hope to replace them hopefully in the near future.
So you're not in Chamagero's struggle?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We're still.
Rachel, I think from the little we've exchanged, I think everybody has a unique impact, a unique experience that they go into. In first of all, like naming children, deciding the number,
Yes.
and but I haven't seemed to see the involvement of the ladies. We are speaking like
As
from a man.
I
decided to have 2
decided,
kids. I came into my life.
Maybe it's the choice of words. So they are saying
yeah,
but at the end of the day, you had discussions
Yes,
with the
definitely.
mothers of
Definitely.
your children. Yeah. I would like to think that growing up, your experience with your dad sort of contributed to how you are being a father today. So let's talk a bit about your experiences growing up. Did you grow up with your dads? What was that like? And what themes have you picked from there that have contributed to how you are a father today?
So maybe I'll go first because for me, I did not grow up with my father. So I determined that if I'm ever lucky enough to have children,
kids,
I will be everything that I hoped my dad would be for them. So how it has shaped me and my experience as a father is that I decided I'll be involved in everything.
Yeah.
So I went for every antenatal visit.
Wow.
I was there in the labor ward as both my kids were born. I can proudly say that I cut both my children's cords.
Nice.
I can proudly say that I'm the first hands that held both my
Wow.
kids,
Yeah.
and I have been there. I've changed all my kids' diapers, and I've told myself that even as they begin to grow, we now have this prayer routine every day, and it was informed by me not having someone because I didn't grow up with my father, and I've discovered that it's fathers that give hope and inspire their kids to be who they want to be. So I didn't have that. So I struggled with self-esteem all my
All your
life.
life,
Now
yeah.
we're here in the struggle. You have to be your own cheerleader. Oh my girl, you can do it. So I told myself that with my children, I'll be their cheerleader. So
Yeah.
every day, at least when I have the opportunity to pray with them, I tell them, you are going to do great things. I
Wow.
am proud of you.
Yeah.
So that at least they don't get to have what I
The
had
struggles
growing
you
up.
had, yeah. Oh, that's
Oh.
profound.
That's interesting. Well, from my side, my dad was absent, looking for money.
Oh. No wonder, yes.
Yeah. he was very aware, but I could feel his sense that he was present. But I grew up a lot with my mother, and I connected a lot with my mother. And I promised my mother one thing. I said, one, when I grow up, I'm going to make sure that I'm present.
Yes.
Money is never going to be a factor that I'm not around, because at times I would ask questions and she would just get so irritated that she would just wish to slap me. But I told her, you can't slap me because it's wrong to slap babies.
Yeah.
And that alone gave me a sense of I want to be unique. And I would see where I was going to school at Holmesdale, some of my peers, they would be dropped by their dads. Me, my mom would just tell me, "Didn't your taxi again?" all this feel like it was more like tough love, like I had to be the man myself. Now I'm the only boy among 6 girls, so I didn't have a man to look around to say, can I was running around to find who can I tap into and I get this. Now the only guy I actually found, and it was online, it's because by then TV had a lot of televangelists, was Creflo Dollar.
Oh.
So he was the only person I could look at and say, I really want to be like this chap. He's clean, he's good in business, he focuses on life. So that's why he started to draw the color vision board. This
That was much later on.
I was in P4 then.
I now understand
why he talks. Yes, yes,
He has his own plan.
Yeah.
He decides where to go.
Yeah.
Yes, because
That's
this
what
guy
he
said,
saw.
if you don't have a vision board,
Even the name Dollar.
you can't be anywhere.
Yeah.
So I did, in my own understanding, what I wanted in life. So I got the best picture. I printed it from an internet cafe. By then would pay 300 to build an internet cafe. I put it on the board. I put my house, everything. Then I put it in my room. So every morning I would wake up and I say, I will have this in life.
Wow.
So that was my drive from the word go.
Yeah.
Over time, I started to have a conversation with my dad. And he told me, we are Baganda men.
What you?
We don't have babies before 30. Why?
Hey.
Because if you're in school at 25, you're done with university, you need 5 or 4 years to first work, then you can fend for them. So I'm not going to allow any baby here before you can work. So I told him, but it's my life, he said, and I'm your father.
What you?
Now I started to feel his presence. But my mother had guided me on who I should marry. Said, with the kind of aggression you have, you need to find a woman who has the capacity to tell you don't do it and you don't do it. So that meant I had to get an extremely brilliant woman than I am and extremely calmer than I am. That those would be the tools to use against me.
Yes.
And whichever girlfriend I used to bring home, this is how they used to. So when I used to say, my girlfriend is coming, all my sisters would be called home. Andrew should bring a visitor. Because I'm the last one and the only boy. They need to be sure where the interests are going.
Yes.
So while we're having lunch, they will be asking questions. And after the lunch, they'll be like, and somehow we'll let go. And no wonder the day I saw my wife when she was making a presentation on oil and gas, I said, that's my wife.
That's the one.
That's
yes.
it.
Yes.
Because my intuition and my innermost frame could identify with the kind of calmness and the intellectual execution. I'm sapiosexual by approach. I was like, this is it. I took that. I took that in a moment.
But you see, for me, I identify with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was a very spontaneous person.
That's the thing.
I needed someone who was organized. Because if you don't have that opposite to balance you out,
Yes.
you just go haywire.
You're going to clash.
And so I can understand why for you that was important. Because for me, it makes a lot of sense that I needed someone who was intelligent, who was calm, who was collected, who would take all these
bring
wild
you
dreams
to
that I
order,
had
yeah.
and actually put them in perspective and say, this is not going to happen. This can't happen.
Man,
It's like avocado on Kamula Lipo.
But my growing up was different though.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Because, I mean, we grew up in a very protected environment at Makerere University. My father was absent, not because he didn't live at home, but because after work he went and hung out with his friends. So he came back home very early in the morning, if you know what I mean. When we were still sleeping. And I never got to see my father when I was in primary
The
school.
morning is just after midnight.
Early in the morning, about 3 o'clock.
After midnight.
The morning is
But here's one thing: my mother stayed up until my father came back home.
Wow.
And said so much to me about the sacrifice women make, and I don't think my father would ever do that.
Yeah.
So in the earlier times of my life,
the
My-
father would do that when he's conning. He can sleep in a banana plantation up to the morning.
but now he even has kids.
Yes.
So for me,
Yeah.
for me, my sense of fatherhood is shaped by the earlier part of my childhood, where I didn't want to be anything that my father was, and then everything that my father was later on, because
Okay.
then my father changed completely when he came to know Christ, and he was a completely different person.
Human.
He was there.
Yeah.
I had my best conversations with my father. By the time my father died, he was my very, very good friend. As in, like, there was nothing that I did that my father didn't know, because I sat down, and my father was a psychiatrist, and he allowed you to say, as in, like, if you did anything, you came out.
Yeah.
You came out and said it, because he just gave you that presence for you to feel that it didn't matter what you did. It is okay.
Yes.
I am your father, first of all. I'll be on your side.
Yes.
Even if you've done something wrong, I am first of all on your side, but then I'll cascade you for the wrong thing.
That's guaranteed.
So for me, everything that my father was in my earlier age, I didn't want that
Yeah.
for me as a father. And I've done everything not to be that. But everything that my father was later on is what I strive for.
Yeah.
And my presence in my children's life is shaped by everything I learned from my father later on.
In
when
his
it came to
later
me.
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my children know that I am present, regardless of where I am there.
Yeah.
That even if I am not at home, I am actually there.
Yeah.
And you see, growing up, and I keep telling people that, look here, when your father comes home, or if you know your father is coming home as a child and you take off, then that is not your father. That is just a man in the home who has control.
Oh, yes.
Now when I come back home, it doesn't matter what my kids are doing, they're not going to stop. Because they know that there's nothing they're doing that is wrong, that even if it were wrong, I'm not going to hit them for that.
Yeah.
I'll actually have conversations with them about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And for me, that's where I see myself now.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a BBC kid. I'm raising kids in the CNN era.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine. My father, I was born in 1968. None of you was even an affair. Even your grandfather's day.
That was the concept.
Yeah, 10th of October then. I think the first computer came in 1970,
Yeah.
IBM. So you can see, and I was born in the village.
Yeah.
Wow.
The village had trees, bananas, things. So we grew up just as villagers. Every year from 1965, my mother produced a kid. So we ended up 12 kids.
That was fitness, though.
Yeah, I think they were really
12.
in their Andach.
Yes.
all the time.
Wow.
So we were 6 girls, 6 boys. And those days it was common for a girl to get married, then you get those cows for you. So we were paired up so well. So we knew, okay, each of us has a bride price in the making.
Oh.
So we were just waiting for them to grow up, get married at 17, 18 there, and then we
And get your cows.
married. But somehow blame it on brilliance. They discovered that we were very brilliant even though we were in the village. So school came and we're exhibiting this awesome brilliance. And somehow school removed me from that deep poverty into some form of town life. I escaped into town, started making my own living, managed to get first grade in that village setting, went to S1, S2, escaped from the village to Kampala. But the point we were talking about is the presence or absence of the father and how it helps. Now, all through that period, my father had many kids. So I could only detect up to 1/12 of his presence
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
from a mathematical point of view.
Yeah.
Those days, fathers were these ones who come and he's a dad. He has his seat. They serve him first, maybe the best part of the chicken.
Of the chicken.
For us, we were okay with the tires of the chicken and the ears and the gizzards and all. Not gizzards.
Yeah,
not
gizzard was
gizzard.
for father.
The small
The neck,
intestine.
yes.
Those things. So he was there. He wasn't. He was a quiet, withdrawn guy.
Yeah.
Exactly opposite me. Sometimes I wanted even to say he's really my dad.
Yeah.
Because I was outgoing.
I would like to meet
I
your
was-
mother then.
Yeah. So by S2 there, I'd left him. I came, did my things in Kampala, painting, selling in Owino, doing what, Luwum Street, university. Somehow, when I go to LDC, he died. So we didn't really have too
A
much,
relationship, yeah.
But the way he looked after the rest of the kids and what, he was a good guy, he was a calm guy, he was a collected guy, he was a Christian guy who used to pray at home and all that. That's basically what I remember. But my mother was the father. She was the opposite. She was the controller. Somebody comes to borrow the bike, my mother should be the one to say, take the bike. Land issues, my mother would be the one walking,
Wow.
saying, this is where our boundary is.
Yeah.
My father would just be watching. Because he knew as Chamagero balanced, I think
Yeah.
he also balanced at that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, my children, I have two sets. The older ones, I wasn't as close to them as I am to the younger ones. Because the older ones had just gotten into work and what, I was still a young man. I was here and there, and I didn't feel that I gave them much time than I'm giving to the younger ones. The younger ones grew up on my laps. We are friends, we share a lot, and then phones came, we chat, we have a group, we talk. So that's why I said I'm a BBC fellow dealing with
CNN.
kids.
CNN kids. Interesting analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very critically networked newts,
Yeah.
those young ones. But
Yeah.
the other ones,
Yeah.
but all in all, there's no school for fatherhood, first
No,
of all.
it's not there.
Is there one for motherhood?
No,
No, there isn't.
No,
There
the
isn't.
Sengas sort of prepare mothers.
even then, I
But
don't
the
think.
uncles, they no longer do that.
So
But
they
you see,
do.
fatherhood is it's. I come from the school of thought that no one can teach you that, because every kid comes with a different manual.
Yeah.
If you would go and they say these are the expectations you should expect from your kid and your wife, possibly would be in position to know, because fatherhood comes in two waves. Being a father to these children and striking the balance that in the mix of fatherhood you don't miss out the other partner, the mother.
Our very first Bump Love Dad edition, aka Baby Daddy. I hope you have enjoyed the conversations. If you have a comment, a question for any one of them, please do leave it in our comment section.